You are not defeated because the table is empty. You are defeated when the mind sits before that empty table and concludes that nothing can be built. The room is still there. Your hands are still there. Your memory, judgment, strength, and ability to learn are still there. Yet the unthankful mind looks only at the missing meal and overlooks the tools from which tomorrow's meal might be created. That is how lack becomes a prison. It is not always the absence of resources. It is the failure to recognize what remains. You must train your mind to see differently now. A thankful mind does not merely say, "I am grateful." It examines life with disciplined attention. It looks at difficulty and asks what can be learned. It looks at limitation and asks what can still be done. It looks at another man's success and asks what law produced it. This is not softness. This is practical power. The average man waits for opportunity to become obvious. He wants the finished offer, the open door, the clear reward, and the assurance that effort will not be wasted. But opportunity rarely arrives in completed form. It often appears as a neglected duty, an inconvenient problem, an unfinished idea, a difficult person, or a position that seems too small for ambition. The unthankful mind rejects these forms because it recognizes reward but not preparation. It says, "This is not enough." The thankful mind says, "What can this become if organized?" That question has built fortunes. It has rebuilt broken careers. It has turned humble work into education and disappointment into judgment. You may possess more opportunity than you presently recognize, but your mind has been trained to search for evidence of shortage. It notices the money not yet earned, the influence not yet gained, the support not yet received, and the doors that remain closed. Then it declares the whole condition empty. Do not permit partial lack to become total blindness. You may lack capital, but possess skill. You may lack skill, but possess time to learn. You may lack powerful associates, but possess a reputation not yet damaged. You may lack certainty, but possess one action that would produce information. Begin with what remains under command. The mind becomes weak when it continually studies forces it cannot direct. It complains about other men's decisions, changing conditions, unfair advantages, and absent help. Some of these facts may be real, but the thankful mind refuses to surrender the territory that still belongs to choice. Ask, what is mine to improve? What can I organize before assistance arrives? What value can I create before reward appears? These questions direct thought toward action. Your mind searches according to the demand placed upon it. Ask why nothing works, and it will collect failures. Ask what can be improved, and it begins identifying causes. Be careful what you command your mind to find. A complaining man trains himself to notice every inconvenience. A thankful man trains himself to notice every usable fact. This does not mean he ignores hardship. It means hardship does not occupy the whole field of vision. Gratitude is the discipline of seeing the entire condition. It sees the debt and the ability to work. It sees the closed door and the lesson in preparation. It sees the broken agreement and the warning about character. It sees the loss and the knowledge that survived it. This is why gratitude can become a form of wealth before money appears. It preserves the mental energy through which money, trust, skill, and opportunity may later be created. Resentment spends that energy without return. The resentful man replays what should have happened. He measures what another person received. He imagines how different life would be if someone had treated him fairly. Meanwhile, the day passes unused. You cannot cultivate another man's field by resenting his harvest. Return to your own ground. Perhaps the soil is poor. Study it. Perhaps the tools are few. Protect them. Perhaps the season is difficult. Plant what the season permits. A thankful mind begins where it stands. It does not wait for the ideal field before becoming a farmer. This is one reason small beginnings possess such power. They reveal whether a man is truly committed to purpose or merely attracted to appearance. Anyone can admire a large enterprise. Few respect the first uncertain step. Yet every visible result once existed in a form the crowd would have dismissed. The business was once an idea. The skilled man was once awkward. The trusted leader was once unproven. The fortune was once a small amount governed with care. Do not despise the form in which your future first appears. Opportunity may enter quietly, because life is testing whether you can recognize value before applause confirms it. The thankful mind says, "This is small, but it is usable." Then it acts. Action is gratitude made visible. If you are thankful for time, direct it. If you are thankful for knowledge, apply it. If you are thankful for trust, keep your word. If you are thankful for another chance, correct the habit that wasted the former one. Words alone do not prove appreciation. Use does. A man may speak beautifully about gratitude and still neglect every blessing he names. He says he values health, then weakens the body through disorder. He says he values opportunity, then arrives unprepared. He says he values friendship, then breaks small promises. That is not gratitude. It is ceremony without stewardship. Stewardship means that what has entered your hands must be developed, protected, and directed toward useful purpose. Ask yourself what you are doing with what you claim to appreciate. Do not answer emotionally. Answer through evidence. How was the last hour used? How was the last amount of money governed? How was the last person who trusted you treated? How was the last lesson applied? These questions reveal whether thankfulness has entered conduct. Now examine your speech. Language is one of the first places where the habit of lack exposes itself. You say, "I have nothing." Is that true? Or do you mean that you do not possess as much as you desire? You say, "No one helps me." Is that true? Or do you mean that the person you expected did not help in the manner you preferred? You say, "There is no opportunity." Is that true? Or do you mean that no opportunity has appeared without risk, effort, or uncertainty? Accuracy restores power. Exaggeration strengthens helplessness. Never use the word nothing carelessly. Many men who claim to have nothing still possessed a sound mind, a body capable of labor, one honest skill, one relationship, and one day. That was not nothing. It was unfinished material. The thankful mind does not confuse unfinished material with failure. It asks what must be added, learned, removed, or organized. This is practical optimism. It does not promise that every effort will succeed. It promises that every condition will be examined before being declared useless. Now consider comparison. Comparison can become instruction or poison. If another man has advanced, the unthankful mind says, "Life favored him." The thankful mind asks, what did he do with what life gave him? Perhaps he had greater advantage. Study it without envy. Perhaps he also possessed discipline, courage, or patience you have not yet developed. Study that too. You do not improve your condition by reducing another man's achievement in your mind. You improve it by discovering what law may be imitated without surrendering your individuality. Turn comparison into education. Ask what quality is visible in the result. Was it concentration, reliability, preparation, the ability to recover after failure, then return to your own work? Another man's success should not become an excuse to neglect your assignment. A thankful mind says, I will not praise the wrong, but I will force the experience to teach me. That is strength. It prevents one loss from creating several others. The weak man loses money and then loses courage. He loses one relationship and then loses trust in all people. He loses one opportunity and then loses faith in every future possibility. One event becomes an empire. Do not give it that territory. Separate the loss from what remains. This was lost. This was learned. This remains available. This will be done next. Such sentences restore order. Do not wait for reward before becoming thankful. Thankfulness is part of the preparation through which reward becomes possible. It protects the mind from the exhaustion of continual complaint. It keeps ambition from becoming greed. It allows you to desire more without despising what is here. This balance is important. You may seek greater income and still respect present work. You may seek a wider field and still cultivate the present one. You may desire better conditions and still use current conditions intelligently. The man who despises today while building tomorrow becomes careless with the materials of progress. The thankful man says, this is not the final condition, but it is the present workshop. Then he works. Make your present condition a workshop. Study where time is lost. Study where money leaks. Study where trust is weakened. Study what people need and what they repeatedly complain about. Every repeated complaint may point toward an unmet need. Where service is slow, better service may become opportunity. Where confusion is common, clarity may become opportunity. Where people are poorly treated, respect may become opportunity. The unthankful man joins the complaint. The thankful man studies the demand. This is how problems become enterprise. But motive matters. Do not exploit weakness merely because profit is possible. Solve the problem honestly. Give real value. Protect trust. Opportunity joined to service creates durable reward. Opportunity joined only to greed eventually destroys the confidence upon which reward depends. A thankful mind understands that every opening creates obligation. If a person gives you trust, you must govern it. If a customer gives you money, you must provide value. If an associate gives you effort, you must deal justly. If life gives you influence, you must use words carefully. Gratitude turns privilege into responsibility. This is why the thankful man often appears more dependable. He recognizes that what has been given can also be lost through carelessness. He prepares. He arrives. He keeps agreements. He does not need to be chased continually. His conduct says, this opportunity matters. Such conduct attracts larger trust. The man who handles a small duty well becomes a candidate for a larger one. The man who protects a little money becomes more capable of governing more. The man who uses 1 hour faithfully begins strengthening the habit through which many hours may later be directed. Opportunity moves toward useful and dependable men. Not always quickly, not always publicly, but reliability creates memory in others. People remember who kept his word when no reward was immediate. They remember who solved without complaining. They remember who remained steady when conditions became difficult. This memory becomes reputation. And reputation becomes an invisible introduction into rooms you have not yet entered. Therefore, do not call the ordinary task unimportant. The task may be small. The reputation being formed is not. The thankful mind understands that every duty carries two payments. The first payment is the visible reward. The second is the character and capacity developed through performance. Sometimes the visible reward is delayed. The inner payment begins immediately. You become more exact, more patient, more skilled, more trustworthy. These qualities later travel with you. No honest discipline is entirely lost. Now create a daily practice. Each morning, name one resource you will use deliberately, one person you will serve well, and one problem you will study instead of resent. Each evening, record what you used and what you neglected. Do not write long speeches. Write evidence. I used the first hour for study. I kept the promise. I turned criticism into correction. Then write one neglected resource. I wasted time after dinner. I failed to thank the person who helped. I ignored the small duty. Correct one, neglect the next day. This practice turns gratitude from emotion into command. Soon your life will begin looking different, not because every condition has changed, but because you have stopped overlooking the forces through which change must begin. You will see the hour, the contact, the lesson, the duty, the problem waiting for solution. And once you see these things, you will face a harder test than lack itself. You will have to act before the opportunity becomes certain, protect it before it becomes valuable, and continue developing it while others still see nothing worth pursuing. That is where thankfulness must become courage, decision, and disciplined faith, because the eye may recognize the seed, but only the hand willing to plant it can discover the harvest hidden within. And when the hand is finally willing to plant what the eye has learned to recognize, gratitude ceases to be an attitude and becomes a force. You may see the seed clearly, understand its value, and still hesitate because the ground offers no guarantee. That is the moment when thankfulness must become courage. It must move you beyond appreciation into commitment. A seed admired on the table produces nothing. A seed placed in the earth accepts darkness, pressure, uncertainty, and time before any sign of life appears. Your opportunity will demand the same faith. Do not ask for proof before action when action itself is required to produce the proof. The man who waits for certainty often watches the season pass. He wants assurance that the effort will succeed, that people will respond, that money will come, that the plan will work, and that no embarrassment will follow. Life rarely gives such guarantees. It gives material, law, time, and the right to test. That must be enough to begin. A thankful mind says, I have been given something usable. I will honor it through action. This does not mean acting foolishly. Examine the facts. Study the cost. Measure the risk. Ask experienced people. But do not confuse investigation with endless postponement. There comes a point when further thinking becomes a shelter for fear. You know when that point has arrived. The next step is clear. The letter must be written. The call must be made. The amount must be saved. The skill must be practiced. The proposal must be placed before someone. Yet the mind asks for another day. Refuse the delay. Action gives opportunity substance. Until you act, the opportunity remains a possibility. After you act, it begins producing information. The answer may be yes or no. The result may be strong or weak. But now you possess evidence, and evidence is more useful than imagination. A thankful man values evidence. even when it disappoints him. He does not say, I am grateful only if this works exactly as planned. He says, I am grateful that the attempt has shown me what must be improved. The thankful mind does not protect pride at the cost of improvement. It would rather know the truth while the stake is small. Say, this attempt showed me where I was weak. Now, the weakness can be trained. That is how disappointment becomes instruction. But instruction must be followed by correction. Do not thank life for the lesson and then repeat the same mistake. That is not gratitude. It is ceremony. The proof that you value a lesson is that your conduct changes. If the proposal was unclear, rewrite it. If your skill was weak, practice it. If your timing was poor, study the proper season. If you trusted too quickly, observe character longer. Let correction become visible. This creates confidence. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It is the memory of previous correction. A man becomes confident when he knows he can meet a poor result, study it, and return stronger. He no longer requires the first attempt to protect his self-respect. He knows how to continue. That is why gratitude and persistence belong together. The unthankful man interprets delay as rejection by life. He says, I have worked and nothing has happened. Usually, something has happened. His skill has improved. His judgment has sharpened. His contacts have widened. His work may not yet have produced the final reward, but preparation has deepened. The thankful mind records hidden progress. Ask, what can I now do that I could not do 3 months ago? What mistake do I recognize sooner? What fear has lost some authority? What person now trusts me because I remain dependable? These are not imaginary gains. They are assets. The final result may still be absent, but the man capable of producing it is being built. Do not abandon that man before construction is complete. The farmer does not dig up the seed every morning to see whether growth has begun. He prepares the soil, supplies water, removes weeds, and trusts the law he has set in motion. Your work requires the same patience. Repeated interference can destroy what disciplined continuity would have developed. You begin one method, change it after 3 days, adopt another, then abandon that one when no immediate reward appears. This is not flexibility. It is restlessness. Give sound action a fair trial. Decide how long you will test the method before judging it. During that period, remain consistent enough to produce meaningful evidence. Correction should follow fact, not mood. A thankful mind respects process. It understands that some rewards have a season. Skill requires repetition. Trust requires time. Reputation requires proof. Wealth requires value organized and exchanged consistently. You cannot demand that every seed produce fruit on the day it is planted. But patience does not mean passivity. The farmer does not merely wait. He works while waiting. He tends what has been planted. Likewise, you must improve the service, strengthen the plan, follow up, study response, and prepare for the next opening. Waiting under purpose is active. Waiting without purpose is drift. Know the difference. The thankful man can endure delay because he knows what to do during it. He does not spend the interval complaining. He uses it to become more prepared than the opportunity first required. But do not use this idea to excuse fear. Some men say they are preparing when they're only hiding. Preparation must have a limit and a purpose. It should move you toward action, not farther from it. Set a date. State what must be ready by that date. Then proceed. Gratitude should make you more decisive because it recognizes that opportunity itself is temporary. A field has seasons. A market has openings. A person may be available now and unavailable later. Time is also a resource, and it can be wasted through overcaution. Do not worship caution. Caution is useful when it protects value. It becomes destructive when it protects fear. Ask, what is the cost of action? Then also ask, what is the cost of delay? Men often calculate only the danger of moving. They do not calculate the danger of standing still. Delay may cost experience. It may cost reputation. It may cost the chance to learn while the stake is small. It may allow another person to solve the problem you continued studying. Every decision has two risks. The risk of action, the risk of inaction. A thankful mind weighs both. Then it chooses. Once chosen, give the decision a fair measure of loyalty. Do not reopen it every hour because discomfort appears. A plan cannot gain strength if you continually question its right to exist. Decide, act, observe, and correct. This creates rhythm. Rhythm creates habit. Habit reduces the energy required to begin. Soon, the work that once demanded great courage becomes part of your normal conduct. The seed has entered the soil. Now protect it. Not every person deserves access to an early opportunity. Some minds cannot see beyond present size. They judge the seed as though it were already required to be a tree. Do not expose every beginning to ridicule. Seek counsel from those who understand growth, evidence, and disciplined effort. Listen to correction, but do not place your purpose before people who habitually mock every unfinished thing. A thankful mind protects fragile beginnings because it respects what they may become. Silence can be useful during early work. You do not need applause for every step. Public declaration may give a temporary feeling of progress, while real work remains undone. Let action speak later. Use the quiet season to build proof. Complete the sample. Develop the skill. Save the amount. Serve the first customer well. Then the work begins answering criticism with evidence. This is stronger than argument. The thankful mind also recognizes people as opportunity, but it does not use people merely as instruments. It sees knowledge, experience, trust, and cooperation, yet it approaches with service. Do not enter every relationship asking, what can this person do for me? Ask, what value can I bring to this association? Strong relationships grow through mutual contribution, not desperate extraction. If you need guidance, ask intelligently. Show that you have studied. Ask a definite question. Apply the answer. Nothing discourages a wise advisor more than giving counsel repeatedly to someone who never uses it. Gratitude for guidance appears in application. Return and say, I used what you taught me. Here is what happened. That response invites deeper help because it proves that instruction will not be wasted. The same law governs employment, partnership, and business. People continue trusting those who convert opportunity into dependable action. Do not ask for larger responsibility while neglecting present duty. Make the present duty impossible to ignore through excellence. Arrive prepared. Complete what you promised. Report problems before they become surprises. Give credit honestly. These habits make you useful. Usefulness attracts further opportunity because people prefer to place responsibility where it will be carried. A person who observed your conduct may mention your name years later in a room you have never entered. Therefore, every duty may contain an unseen door. Treat it according